everybody always wants to know, the number one question I always get is, what kind of woman is a surrogate? Who does this? Because I know for a lot of intended parents, it's hard for you to wrap your mind around why a woman would offer to carry your child for 9 months and potentially go through a lot. I think the easiest way to explain that is we have a desire to help. It's a drive in us that once it gets started is very hard to turn off. When I first learned about surrogacy, I was extremely intrigued by it. My thought process was, this can't be real, this doesn't exist. And the more you learned about it, the more intriguing it became, and the more it's something I just knew I wanted to do. I had had a child, and I just thought, you know what? The ability to give somebody that gift is remarkable. The ability to walk away knowing that I made somebody's dreams come true was so gratifying to me and to my husband that we thought, how do you not do this? Our first journey, I would have to say, was absolutely our easiest and by far our luckiest. We were pregnant on the first try. Everything went great, smooth, and it was that moment at delivery, as she was standing there, forgive me if I cry, you know, and we had just delivered this baby for them. And I say we because my husband is an extremely important part of this. And she held a child that she was told she was never, ever, ever going to have. You know, and she's, from the time she was a little girl, she grew up wanting that baby she knew she was never going to have. And to see her hold him and just cry, and I get to walk away with that, that's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. There are so many different things to touch on. Like Steve talked about the different agencies. I can vouch for it that it's true. I thought, well, if one was good, two has got to be better, because that's the way you always look at it. And the third one, the less, has got to be fantastic. The second agency that I went to, they were wonderful. They were so happy to have you and wanted to talk to you and get to know you. And as soon as they found out that that pregnancy was achieved, I don't think I heard from them one time, unless I called them, unless I needed something, unless I needed to know what happened next. My phone never rang, never once. Afterwards, they sent me a little gift bag and said, you know, congratulations, that's great. And I never heard from them again. It's important as a surrogate to have a connection with your parents, with your agency, and an agency is important for so many different reasons. It's always nice to have that third party to bounce something off of. It can get tricky when you're pregnant and somebody wants you to eat all green beans and you want to eat bread. So it's nice to have that third party to bounce something off of. It's really important to decide how much contact you want. Out of all 4 journeys, like I said, I have a lot of contact with 3 of them. The 4th one, they kind of went their own way, and that was okay with me. I kind of knew it was going to be that way from the beginning. They were extremely private people, which was fine with me. But contact is important. You know, when I wake up and I get a message on my Facebook because it's the twins' birthday that says, "You're so great," you know, I mean, it feels good. And to see these children grow up, you know, people ask us, what's the most important thing to you as a surrogate? The most important thing to me is to see your family photograph at Christmas. You know, to know that your guys' goal was achieved. And that is really who we are. We're people that love to be pregnant. We're people that usually do it pretty good. And the drive to make you guys parents is ultimately, that's the only desire we have. Compensation, it's the big elephant that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to look at it. Is a surrogate compensated? Yeah. Sometimes as that gets sticky, sometimes it doesn't feel right, and sometimes when I've hung my head over a toilet bowl all day long and the last thing I want to do is think about dinner, it's nice, yeah. You know, like Shantae said, does it help in certain areas? Yeah. Is it why I do it? Absolutely not. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 17 years. I would have been a stay-at-home mom regardless if I had done surrogacy or not. Played no part in it. So when people get on this unethical bandwagon of women feeling used and abused, they've got the wrong surrogate. They've obviously not followed the protocol, and they've gotten somebody off of a street who says, I really need this money, and surrogacy is the best way to do it. Anybody who's been in surrogacy will tell you if you're looking at it for money, you're looking at it the wrong way. My last journey took me 2 years from start to finish. Almost exactly 2 years from when we signed the contract to when he went home with his baby. It's a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of failed cycles, a lot of starting over. For me, it's a lot of not being there for my kids, not being able to go to a school function, my husband having to come home after a full day of work and do laundry because the twins I'm carrying, I can't function anymore. So there's a lot of ups and downs. And I think as long as everybody is open-minded and honest and communicates, you know, and it's so important at the beginning to say what you want. It's so easy to say, well, yeah, I would reduce for you, you know, if this baby wasn't going to live more than 20 minutes. At that same time, you're the one carrying that baby, and you're the one going, no, God, how do I deal with this forever? Because this is only going to take a minute, but I'm going to live with it for the rest of my life. So it's really important to iron out all those things that you think sound easy, you know, because they're not easy when you get to it. So communicate, be open, and be honest. I mean, those are the best things I can tell you.
Jen, you want to talk about working with people from far away, from different countries? Because one of the people,
two of mine were overseas.
Yep. You want to talk about that? How did you react the first time when you were asked whether you would work with somebody from overseas?
I really almost thought, I don't know that I want to do that because it would be really hard. How do you involve somebody from overseas into a pregnancy? It was really easy. Thank goodness for email, texting, Skype. It's all there. And it only takes a second. We always like to send a lot of pictures, you know, every month, every what's changing, what's going on. I always like to do journals. And the phone calls, it's a little tricky with the time differences someplace, but I think that working with the overseas couples has been just as gratifying, you know, as the couples that I've worked with in the States. You find a way to make it work, and it's all on your comfort level. You know, if you need more, if she needs more, it's important to know that level.
One other question. Many times you said we. I understand you were talking also just because you know other surrogates. Do you want to talk about maybe the camaraderie, or do you ever like go online on forums, Facebook? You want to talk about? It's almost like a community, isn't it?
It's a big community, and there's good parts of communities and there's bad parts of communities. My own personal opinion is there's some forums that are nasty and will give you a lot of bad information. There are forums that can be very supportive. I think the best thing is to just be able to meet somebody and take it outside of a forum and then decide your comfort level. It's always nice to have somebody to lean on, but you are right, there is I don't know if you want to call it an underground world, but once you get to know a surrogate, it just spreads. I know in the state of Minnesota we have a handful of us who do lunch, you know, every 3 months to just kind of stay connected and stay. And I think that that's really the solid foundation because you have so many people who want to be surrogates that come and go. And it's nice to have a solid foundation